Hello, it's Juliet Loves Beginning, and today I have a talk called Great Release. Let's see, the first statement I was given is be willing to allow the dismantling and rearrangement of everything you have made with thought. So as I allow that, I also allow the dismantling and rearrangement of everything I perceive, because why do I perceive as I do? Because of the thoughts I believe. So, last night I had, I guess I would call it depression. It seemed like this great big burst of just like not wanting to do anything, heaviness, almost despair. I don't feel like I'm not describing it too well, but it was very heavy. And in that state, I wasn't even able to pick myself up to do anything about it. I just had to kind of survive through it, which I did. And then this morning, I can look at like, what on earth was happening there? I didn't rise above it, and that's okay. Because, today's another day, and I can still look at that. But be willing to allow the dismantling and rearrangement of everything you have made with thought. So when I'm feeling like that, I'm actually... Okay, I have to keep stopping to clear my throat this morning. Clearing out, I guess. But when I feel like that, I'm actually saying no dismantling, no rearrangement of what I have made. I can see that now. But in that state, I couldn't. I just had to, kind of sit there like a lump for a while. But now I can look back on it and see the focus of, no, I will not allow the dismantling. I will not allow the rearrangement. And now in this state, I can feel, yes, I will. Go ahead. Do what you need to do. And I feel like in these intense times, we move in and out and through these states, and to just be very patient and gentle and kind with yourself, with everyone around you, as they are where they are, and learning to navigate it as they do, just like you. So what I can always focus on is my willingness. Did I even have the thought to allow that last night? No, I just it was just a lump for several hours. And then everything came back into focus again. But if your lumps can surface like that, then in the light of morning, you can say, hey, take this lump and dismantle and rearrange. I give it to you. There's no reason to hang on to this lump I just experienced last night. So everything that I am, which is not just me separately, everything that I am, go ahead and dismantle and rearrange everything I've made with thought. And I'm all for it. Okay. The next part is, in every other you perceive is a great release. So travel steadily on, inward, to their center. So it's like everybody has that gooey, sweet center, or that center of light. Everybody has that. It's the same thing. We're all the same thing. So when I look at another, do I want anything from you? No. And I say this for everyone. We don't truly want things from other separate selves. We might believe that we do. But is there a lack in us that we have to address by feeding off of another separate self, pulling from them? There truly isn't. That isn't how it truly is. It's a fantasy of doing that, of trying to feed on other separate selves to get our perceived needs met. So if we know that, what do I need from you? Nothing. I don't need anything from you. But what do I need to see when I look at you? If I travel steadily on past any surface I'm judging about you, any past I see for you, any likely future I'm inventing for you, to your center, what's there? It's the answer to what I am. It's what you are. It's the same thing in everyone. And so I feel like that's my job now, is not to analyze the surface, positively or negatively, to just recognize you and let everything unfold from that recognition. But if I'm trying to listen to what ego's telling me about my needs, and then try to use my perception of you as separate to get those needs met, I'm going to forget to look for who you are, and then forget about myself as I am. And then I'm going to get caught up in the drama, and I'm going to start judging and analyzing the drama, and then I'll be in misery. So it's important to remember, for me to remember, your center as the most real thing about you. And when we understand that, then we don't need to stress or put time and energy into trying to cultivate outer qualities that will get us attention, or get us friends that we can keep, or that will push undesirables away or intimidate people into not approaching us. I don't know why that came up that way. That's interesting. To cultivate a surface that's attractive or repulsive in the way you want it to be repulsive. We don't have to put time and energy into that because we're not our surface. And we have become curators of our surface. And in order to curate your surface, you have to judge every surface you see and pick and choose among those surfaces and say, well, this is the surface I need to present to have the most peace of mind I can have. And then you put time and energy and effort into cultivating and maintaining that surface and comparing that surface constantly to others to reassure yourself that your surface is appropriate. But when you look beneath every single surface without exception and see the same thing at the center of the true place where every being is, then immediately all the surfaces become unimportant. And when all the surfaces become unimportant and can't be judged, then what we are is free to do what it will with them. And then we get conducted out of the perception of separation, but not in a way the separate identity can know or predict. The separate identity, which we aren't, so each one of us gets to a place where we can allow this because we can see how unimportant the surface is. So as we're looking at one we call another, that one is other than myself, and we're traveling past everything we think we see on the surface to what we call their inner, and we see that light. What we travel past is our pain that we're attached to. And as I travel past my pain to look at you as you truly are, I'm not looking at any distracting aspect of surface self that you may have cultivated to prove to me that you're okay. I'm not looking at that. I don't care about that. I'm looking at who you are. That's what I want to see more than anything. So that leaves you free to not have to cultivate and maintain any surface. A surface of kindness, a surface of friendliness, a surface of intelligence, a surface of health. You don't have to do any of that. And when we're not busily engaged in serving the surface, which is exhausting, it's exhausting, then we can actually be of service. So as I travel past my pain, wanting only to see in you what you truly are, not any details of a surface you're stressing out about cultivating and maintaining, just you as you are, which is the same as every other you I could see out there. So there's no work to be done about it. There's no maintenance. There's zero maintenance in that self. As I travel past that pain into what you are, I let go my attachment to the same thing. So that's the most important thing about being with you today, is seeing you as you are and not getting distracted by anything you use stress and judgment to bring into apparent being and to sustain and maintain. And as if no one's looking at something you put a lot of time and energy and effort and work into maintaining, then you can just relax out of the maintenance of it. It makes life a whole lot easier. Okay, the next statement is, what is to be celebrated is completely open and undefined right now. So I'm supposed to be happy about you. What am I supposed to be happy about? Well, in ego's terms, it would say nothing, right? But in spirit's terms, it would say everything. That thing that connects you to all life everywhere, which is what you are all life everywhere. That is what is to be celebrated. So it's not a list of accomplishments or awards. It's not, if I look at you and then I hear a past about you, I think, oh, this past is very impressive. This description of abilities is very impressive, so I should be very impressed with you. And then I look at someone over there, and it seems like if I look at their past, it looks like nothing. Well, that is a trick. That's a trick. That's ego's trick. That would have me comparing you to someone else and finding them lacking and finding you have what you need to be interesting and attractive. And that game's over. That game's over. So I gotta look into what makes you truly important, which when I look into that other guy is what makes that one truly important. Or let's put another guy next to you guys. There's the accomplished one, there's the one who seems to have accomplished nothing, and then let's put a villain in with you guys. And that villain seems to have accomplished awful things. My sister just watched a movie about Jeffrey Dahmer and was telling me about that. So, all right, let's put a villain in there. That one seems to have accomplished terrible things and is getting special attention for that. At least next to that one, I'm not that. You go into the center of the being, past all of the confusion about what they're striving to show or maintain or grab at or see. Any self, any confused, grasping self, struggling self, no matter what that self seems to be doing, the center's the same. It's the same. And that's what I'm here to do today. So I need to look through all the surface layers. That means I can't be impressed by them. And I can't compliment you for them. I can't. My attention has to be on where you are, not on a surface. So every day is my day to practice this. And just be with you. And appreciate you. And that's quieter. But it's also very beautiful. And it makes you equally beautiful to everyone else right now. Now, wherever I believe I have a comparative advantage, I'm really going to hear ego squealing about this because that's what I've been leaning on. Let's say I think I'm reasonably intelligent. Well, I've been leaning on that. And my reasonable amount of intelligence it's necessary for somebody to have less intelligence next to me. I'm going to require that as a prop in my story. But if I give up all the stories about me as a separate one and needing to prop up that separate one comparatively and be happy that there's a villain in the world because next to the villain I'm not a villain, that whole game ends. It's over. It ends. Then all that's left for me to do is see through that fantasy I wanted to see and all the different versions of characters I needed to see comparatively to be me among them. And it doesn't matter if my fantasy is of being a lesser being. It's still satisfying because I show up as a separate one that seems real. That's what ego wants. That's ego's function. It's to have us show up as separate ones that seem real. So there's satisfaction even if I showed up as very much relatively flawed. I still have identity there. I still think I'm real there. We have to go past the surface of unreality and all its fluctuations and comparisons into what's actually here now. And what's actually here now is all connected. It's all the same thing. and it can handle all of our perception. Okay, let's see. I guess the one more thing I want to say about that, because it was what is to be celebrated, is completely open and undefined right now. Well, the ego wants to define. The ego sends us definition thoughts. So I need to recognize when I hear the definition of the surface thoughts that it's the same game. And I can just look right past and say what's really here. I don't have to believe that thought. Defining a surface. And ask what's really here. What am I to see now? Show me. Where am I to go? What am I to do? Show me. When someone reflects your attachment to pain back to you, do not be disturbed. It only means you can find the willingness to face it and to let it go. So if someone in front of us is in pain, if I want to fix their pain, I'm playing with the surface. But if I realize I'm looking in a mirror, I'm having an opportunity, there's some pain here, and where's my willingness? Where's my spark of willingness? Where's the most important thing about me that's exactly the same as the most important thing about you? Where is that? Let's find that. Let's sit there with that. Let's sit there and let that spark expand. Let's let that spark decide how the situation's going to go. Because that spark is your spark, so that means we decide together. Not my past patterning, not what I think works, not a habit, not a formula. And this is, I'm in the middle of learning this. I'm probably in kindergarten. But I'm in the middle of learning this enough so I can describe it, right? So if I find my willingness, I face what I think I'm seeing, and I have a willingness to let go with whatever's whatever's blocking my clarity and my flow, then I know how to be with somebody and to be helpful. Just the intention to be helpful without knowing what is helpful. What form will this helpfulness take? You don't know. So you have to wait and see what comes to you. So I'm seeing more and more not knowing is very helpful to me. Being open to what can come through me or anyone or anything else. And just let every situation be addressed by everything that seems to be in the situation and everything that can flow through every component of what seems to be in the situation. That's different than contracting into my separate self and attempting to handle or manage something. To realize I'm connected to everything that seems to be present right now, and I can allow openness and flow through every aspect of what seems to be present right now. That means I don't act upon anything. I act in concordance with, that was different, in harmony with everything that seems to be present. So this idea of acting upon a separate self seems to be diminishing, and the idea of acting in concordance with every separate element that seems to be present in a perceived situation, just being part of that wholeness and allowing the wholeness present in that situation to handle it, then all the pressure I would accept in perception from ego saying you have to handle this goes away. And I can be helpful. So these are words I'm saying that describe what I'm just beginning to learn. And as I say them, it kind of shows me my lesson for the day. It shows me what I can expand into. It shows me what I can ignore next time, because I realize that was an ego thought. You have to handle this. That was an ego thought. What if I didn't believe that thought? What then? So learning, always learning and unlearning, and grateful for what's here for us all. So thank you for you, and happy healing.